Kodec. Hope life is treating you all perfectly. I got another build video for you guys today. Or rather, it's kind of a follow-up to the first build video that I did coming back to the game and into subclassing this thing. If you haven't watched that video, feel free to do so. But that setup was kind of a beta setup to this one. I think I even ended the video saying that it was a beta setup simply because I had so much things to test still. And now we are here, and I've done a lot of testing, like a lot of testing. I tested everything from race, subclassing skills, sets, skills, CP, the whole lot. And I'm really happy with how this setup turned out. It's by far my most precious setup to date. And for those that have followed me, you know that the majority of my builds are quite heavily dot-based. And this is no different. This is about those big fat juicy dots. And before you nerds go apeshit in my comments for this not being a meta build, this is not meant to be a meta build under any circumstances. And that's fine. That's okay. It's just a video game, guys. But I've really enjoyed this build. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's have a look at the unbuffed stats. For those that have seen the previous setup, the stat sheet here will look fairly similar. I mean, we're still running the Serpent Mundustone for stamina recovery. We're still trying to be in and around 30k health. I mean, if you want more health, then by all means, feel free to get in some more health, but I like being around the 30k mark. We also have a little bit more magicka. But the biggest difference here is obviously the resistances. Our resistances are quite juiced up compared to the last setup, and the reason for this is that we are a Nord. And I think Nord is probably my favorite PvP race in the game. It just gives you a lot of juicy things. I mean, it gives you health, it gives you resistances, it makes you regen ultimate when you take damage. It's really strong. And I mean, I'm a Norwegian, so I'm a real life Nord. So I got to be a Nord. And actually, I think because of the gear and so on that we are running, I actually think Nord is quite mandatory for this setup in particular. If you're not a Nord, you will feel quite squishy. I'm saying that right now. But I'm running Jewels of Misroll as food and Vampire Stage 3 for Undeath. Let's have a look at the fully buffed stats. Keep in mind, these stats will be higher in Cyrodiil, because I'm just chilling here in my house. But as you can see, we have a pretty decent amount of recovery. We will have more recovery in Cyrodiil. We have a little bit under 5k spell and weapon damage, which doesn't look like a lot, but we'll get to that shortly. And we have 24.4% spell and weapon crit, and closing in on 8k penetration, and this will also be higher because of our CP, which we also will get into in a little bit. And this is our front bar resistances. So as you can see, they are quite amped up from the previous setup, so we are quite tanky here. And for good measure, this is our back bar. So as you can see, we are closing in on 30k spell resistance. If you run the fortified CP, you can be in and around, I think, 31k or something like that. But I haven't felt the need for it. But again, we will get into that in a little bit. Let's have a look at the gear. As always, I'll show you a solo setup and a group setup. This is obviously our solo setup or 1vx setup, call it whatever you like. I run 2 heavy, 4 medium, 1 light. As always, I run reinforced on the big pieces, impen on the rest. As you can see, we are running triple bloodthirsty jewelry. This is a change from the last setup. I'll get to that in a moment, but we are running double weapon and spell damage enchantments and 1 stamina recovery enchantment on the jewelry. On the front bar, I'm running 2 maces, 1 Nernhoned, 1 sharpened, with flame and poison damage enchantments. This just plays straight into our passives in the Ardent Flame skill line. Like this one, increase the damage of your burning and poison status effects by 33%. When you apply burning and poison to an enemy, you restore 423 magicka and stamina. This effect can occur every 3 seconds. On top of that, you get a flat 5% damage boost to your flame and poison attacks. So that's why I'm running it. On the back bar, I'm running an ice staff with defending and escapist poisons on the back bar. Reason being is that we do not have a dedicated snare removal, so this will help us with that. On top of that, it deals poison damage, which is very beneficial, as I said, to our toolkit. On top of that, it drains your opponent and increases the costs of their magicka abilities by 10% and restores 238 magicka to you per second for 2.3 seconds. So pretty handy. So yeah, for those that have seen the previous build video I did, you will obviously see that not much has changed gear-wise, but there are changes and they are bigger than you think, so I'll walk you through it, but let's start from the top. Monster Helm, I'm running Bloodspawn. No-brainer, gives you stamina recovery, gives you a lot of ultimate, gives you a lot of resistance, and again just plays greatly into the Nord's toolkit. So we are really capable of spamming our ult if we want to. I'm running One Piece Druid for health. Front bar, I'm still running Dragonknight. I mean, I love this set with a passion. I think it's criminally underused and underappreciated. It just, I mean, it's so great. It buffs the shit out of your dots. It buffs the shit out of your ultimates. And I can't wrap my head around people choosing Dragon's Appetite over Dragonknight. Like, I really can't. Like, Dragonknight is just a straight up buff from Dragon's Appetite in terms of raw DPS. Yes, you don't get a healing, but I'm not joking. Fully buffed, my Burning Embers is like 30k. So it's really stupid how big your dots get with this thing. So don't sleep on this set, promise me that. It's a light set, and that's obviously the biggest minus. Back bar, we're still running Essence Thief. I've tested a lot of different things on the back bar, and I just always end up coming back to this. I mean, it just plays so well into what we want to do with this setup. The logical thing is obviously to run Rallying Cry, but like I've said before, it would end up... the problem is that I would end up running too many light pieces, and I didn't like that. I've tested Pariah, but obviously it's quite a DPS loss compared to Essence Thief. I've tried Wretched Vitality. Yeah, I just always end up coming back to this. I mean, it gives you a lot. It gives you a 10% damage boost, which is huge. It gives you health. It gives you stamina. Resources. I mean, it's just really, really great. Yes, the biggest downside is that you need to do this minigame running after these orbs. But as I've said before, if you run a staff on the back bar, it makes the process a little bit more easy. So Mythic, I'm running Payloader, and I'm running Payloader all the way. I mean, it's so good, especially on these type of builds, big fat dot builds, because I mean, you're just gonna have these huge damage ticks going all of the time, and you can just, I mean, you can just spread huge dots everywhere to many targets, and it's just gonna help you out heal so many things. Yeah, I just love it. I just can't run anything else. So let's talk about why I swapped from Infused to Bloodthirsty on to Jewelry. And basically, it comes down to our passives. Because both Gravelord and Stormcalling has passives that are quite interesting. Let's look at it. Death Kneel. Increase your critical strike chance against enemies under 33% health by 20%. Pretty nice. And Stormcalling, you have this one, Amplitude. Increase your damage done against enemies by 1% for every 10% current health they have. And I mean, Bloodthirsty kicks in like around 70%. And I mean, after 70%, our dots are huge by default. But Bloodthirsty, it just makes them tick harder and harder and harder. And it's just so freaking nice. And it plays straight into, again, our passives. This one. This one. So I'm going Bloodthirsty. Like, Bloodthirsty is best on this setup all the way. It's really, really nice. And if you don't believe me, test it out. Skills. Burning Embers, big fat dot. It also heals you for 102% of the damage done, as well as afflicting the target with the burning status effect, which we obviously have massive buffs on, so that's great. Blast Bones, we all know what this is. Disease burst ability, hits really, really hard, as well as applying Major Defile, which is very, very strong in PvP. Molten Whip, my favorite spammable in the game. It does a lot of things. What's so great about it is that it acts sort of like a buff to all of our dots. So it's really, really, really good. Noxious Breath, AoE, poison dot. It's also our way of applying Major Breach. Flames of Oblivion, a dot. It shoots out 3 fireballs, as well as giving us Major Prophecy and Savagery. In AoE situations, this thing is sort of like my spammable, because Molten Whip will buff all of our damage every time we click this thing. So it's a really, really good ability. Front bar, I'm running Thriving Chaos, big fat AoE dot, and it heals you for 51% of the damage done. It also increases your damage done and applies hemorrhaging status effect on the target, which is one of the strongest status effects in the game. And again, we have the Gravelord passive, and we get this flat boost to all of our damage over time effects. So it's really, really, really good. I mean, you could run Dawnbreaker or whatever. I just find that Driving Chaos performs better for me. Streak. This is our getaway vehicle, as I like to call it. It allows you to streak away when you need to. It also works as a stun, so it's really good. Crit Surge. This is our way of obtaining major brutality and sorcery. On top of that, it heals you every time you do crit damage, so very strong skill. Hurricane does a decent AoE, but what's most attractive about it is that it gives you major resolve and minor expedition. Resolving Vigor, a little hot, but the main reason it's on our bar is because of minor resolve. Healing Soul, this is our burst heal ability. I run the normal script, resources back and major vitality. And I'm running Temporal Guard on the back bar for the minor protection. And I actually think it's required, since we are not running really a defensive set, quote unquote. You need this, and especially if you're not a Nord, you're going to be very, very squishy on your back bar. On top of giving you minor protection, it gives you a little shield. So yeah, you kind of have to run this when you are running around solo, in my opinion, because there is so much damage going around at the moment. There's so much pressure. Let's go over the CP. I'm running Blue CP, I'm running Resilience, Wrathful Strikes, again buffs are dots, Macered Arms, buffs are Blast Bones or Whip. Force of Nature gives us a lot of pen. We have a lot of status effects on this setup, so it gives us all of that juicy penetration when we need it. Red CP, I'm running Survival Instincts, Pain's Refuge, Sustained by Suffering, and Celerity. If you are not a Nord, you have to run Fortified. Like, you have to. This thing. It's gonna boost your resistances by quite a bit. Let's have a look at the group setup. As you can see, not a lot is changing here. The only thing that is changing is the mythic. We are running Mark in here. It gives us a little bit of damage and a decent amount of armor, which is really nice. Makes us quite a lot more tanky. And keep in mind, we have quite a decent amount of resistances from our race passive, so really, really, really nice. Skill wise, the only changes are the ultimate. I'm running Shifting Standard. I've talked about this before. I love it in group play, and it synergizes really well with Streak. I mean, you can just smack this thing down, streak the people inside it, but I mean, you need a friend or two to click that synergy, so if they are, people are gonna rip. On the previous setup, I was using a Resto Staff for Life Giver, the Resto Ultimate. What I found was that I just ended up being way too squishy on the back bar. So I'm running an Ice Staff, and I have replaced Life Giver with Reviving Barrier. which is also a pretty strong ability in group play and also solo actually. So yeah, that's pretty much it. In Battlegrounds, I'm just swapping out Payloader with Markin. I mean, feel free to use Stonebreaker or something if you want to. I just like thriving chaos on this setup. So yeah, that's pretty much the update on this build. I really enjoy this. I really hope you guys will enjoy it too. Let me know what you think. Take care and see you later.